Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New View. I'm Kim, and I'm here with Shira, Lee, and Juji. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. Today, we're going to talk about apologizing too much. Ladies, who here has experienced sorry syndrome and would like to share?
I guess I'll go first. I do like that you call it a syndrome. I feel like there was a time, Kim, when I pointed out to you that you were saying sorry a lot when you didn't need to, especially when you were like in the middle of, doing something really lovely for me. An example that I remember was when you were picking me up at the train station and like you weren't late or anything and your car was like parked at the exact right place and everything. And I opened the car door to get in and a box of tissue was sitting on the seat right next to you. And you were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then you took the tissue and you threw it in your back seat. And I was like, you really don't need to apologize for that, And you're like, yes, I know. I'm like really trying to learn how to say like, oh, excuse the tissue or something like that, instead to like replace this like knee-jerk reaction that we kind of develop over time. And I know I had to do it too, where instead of saying I'm sorry, I say excuse me, but it wasn't necessarily natural to me to do that because to some degree, I feel like it is about apologizing for even just taking up space or for like having a need and for, for anything really. So it really is about, we talk so much about how important language is. And it's almost like if you say sorry all the time, then when you really are sorry, it doesn't mean anything because you apologize for everything all the time, that it just gets thrown in there, but it sort of like diminishes an actual apology. So it is kind of, this is just another way to check ourselves through language and how we talk to others and present ourselves to others.
Yeah, I so resonate with that, Juji, because someone could look at it and go, they're not really sorry. It's just like it's just a phrase. It's just a matter of speech. But to your point, I'm sorry. That's a deep thing. Like you're apologizing for something. Like it shouldn't be that way or something. So I think other words, because words do matter, like excuse me, or I think we talked about, thank you for being patient. Like, let's say you're like a minute late to something or not even, just for any situation that would require it, I'm sorry, to exchange that with a thank you for being patient or thank you for other things. Because sometimes we preemptively apologize for things like it's not even on people's radar. And we're already like, before the story even begins, we're already saying, I'm really sorry that like nobody was even thinking about that. Why are you interjecting a sorry when it's not on anybody's thought?
Yeah, the two words that really resonated with me when you were talking, Juji, were knee jerk, because I definitely, it becomes a habit, it becomes such a habit and we don't even realize it. It's second nature, like you said. And I definitely have been working on that even more so ever since you pointed it out to me. You also said the word diminish, and it diminishes, yes, future apologies that are authentic and sincere for bigger things, but it diminishes yourself. Like you're demeaning yourself because, as you pointed out to me once, and this is what really stuck in my head was, and it obviously depends on the situation, but I think I was flippantly like apologizing every time somebody would even like walk past me. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, you want to come in? Oh, sorry. Like it's just it was such a knee jerk thing for me. And you said it to me in a way where you were like, it's almost like you're just apologizing for existing. And that really struck a chord with me. I was like, wow, I've never heard it put like that. And it really made me just take a look at how much I apologize. And I started to see it everywhere. It wasn't just when people would, let's say, walk past me and I would get out of the way. It was, a lot of it was like at work and emails being sent. It's interesting because there's this app now that you could connect to your email. It's called Just Not Sorry. And it highlights or underlines like words that sound like an apology, because we apologize in so many other ways besides saying the words, I'm sorry. And the amount of things highlighted in my emails for work, it was like the word just, I would use, oh, well, I'm just following up. Why not just say, I'm following up? You know, it was like in all those small ways. And that app really made me see it.
That is fascinating. I didn't even know that existed. Holy cow.
Yeah. And something that helps too is now, you know, Juji and I will leave each other voice notes, and it's almost like we'll make fun of it a little bit, and we'll be like, let's say I leave her a 10-minute message, which is really way too long.
Yeah. I've gotten those.
It's very typical of me. But I'll say things now, and not, you know, just more of joking about it. Oh, sorry, not sorry. My message is so long. Like just the word sorry, not sorry is like poking fun at it, but it's good because it continually makes you aware. I'm apologizing. I know I am, and I know I don't need to be, but
Right.
Sorry, not sorry. You know, it's helpful.
Yeah. And we all tend to do that. I find that I often do that with actually with texts when I don't respond in a timely manner. And I don't know what a timely manner really means, because I mean, we get busy, but sometimes, you know how like when you see somebody texted you, but you're in the middle of something or you're busy and you just kind of put your phone away and then you don't remember to respond. It's a day or two later. So I always find myself saying, I'm so sorry, because it's like so not me, and it's so not right, and it's so not. So yes, I totally get that feeling. But I'm also thinking of certain situations where, like, let's not dismiss apologies that should be made sometimes by people who are possibly perpetually late or don't take responsibility for certain, you know, things like that. Where it's okay. It's also okay. It's okay to apologize, but yeah, I think it's become such a natural instinct, like you said, Kim, like it's been like it's just a habit, and we use it so loosely for everything. I'm sorry instead of excuse me, or I'm sorry instead of, you know, I'll get it, or, you know, I'm sorry.
I have an example. Actually, I was just thinking in my mind, because I'm on so many Zoom calls for work. And occasionally there will be a time where I either had to do something or I put myself on mute or whatever. And I say to myself, I think maybe somebody brought this up already, so I don't want to bring it up again and sound like I wasn't paying attention. So I have seen, and I've changed this now, because it used to be like, I'm really sorry if somebody brought this up already, but what are we doing about blah, blah, blah. And now I'll say something like, this may have been brought up already, but I wanted to know if, and I'll say it that way as opposed to apologizing for it, because how many of us multitask all day long? And so there are certain things that are not apology worthy that I think it would do us good to just come up with different phrasing, like we just talked about, like excuse me, or thank you for being patient, or whatever. There's something, it's just like this little boost of, I got this, you know, I don't have to apologize for existing.
Yeah, and I think it's received well too. Like if you said to me, or if you were late in meeting me and you said, thank you for being patient, I would take that positively, you know,
Yes.
and be like,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. You know,
Yep.
no sorry necessary at that point.
Yep.
Yeah. It's an acknowledgement basically. So.
Yeah. And it definitely comes across more confident, you know, because consistently apologizing, especially for things that are out of your control too, which I see a lot in my life. You know, I'm the first one to fully admit it. I feel it stems from a low self-esteem somewhere deep down, you know, maybe that little girl in me doesn't feel worthy enough or something, or is trying to, well, actually something I learned lately is trying to preemptively control the person's reaction, so that, if I say I'm sorry first, before anything else, they won't be mad at me. They won't not like me. They won't explode. They won't react in a way that I can't handle, or like, it's definitely, there's some form of control there that I'm trying to hold, and a responsibility. I'm trying to take responsibility on some level of how they're experiencing what it is I'm saying.
Mhm.
That was like, just knowing that and having that awareness of that at 46 years old is just mind freaking blowing, because it really makes you look internally at your behavior and where it comes from. So I'm the first to admit that, I'm always working on my learning how to love myself, working on being more confident, working on my self-esteem. It's a journey. None of us ever just arrive and then we're walking around this planet completely confident. It's a journey and it's a practice. Everything we ever talk about, it's like you have to practice, 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 and not apologizing as much, and just, taking the pause. That's what I find I'm not incredibly good at, is just take a pause before you speak. Like, I want to say I'm sorry first, but if I just take the pause, I can think about it and say, okay, let me choose not to apologize first. Let me get right to the point,
Yep.
I think to take it a step deeper, Kim, something that I noticed myself apologizing for, even in like very close friendships, is like when I'm really having a hard time and I just need to like get something off my chest, like maybe I'm crying, maybe I'm not, but I feel like just getting it out is so important. And then right after I do that, I go, sorry about all that, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, why? I never apologized to my mom for telling her what's wrong. Why would I have to apologize to a friend if like that's what I consider friendship to be for, among many other things. Like, there are certain friends that I feel more comfortable sharing the hard stuff with. And so those are the people that I technically know I can turn to. So then why am I apologizing after I turn to them? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But in a way, it's because I felt like, oh, me putting this on you is now somehow a burden, even though I don't feel that way when somebody's telling me something difficult, like I see clients, that's literally all that's all I deal with all the time. And maybe in a sense, when somebody's telling me something and they're like, yeah, I know you deal with this all day, like, sorry to put this on you. It's like, it's actually kind of an art form to be like, no, that's not mine. I don't have to hold that. It's okay for you to tell me what's wrong and for me to just sit with it. We had an episode about, holding space for people. Like, that's really what it's all about in friendship. And you don't have to say that you're sorry for that, because like, that's what human connection is. It's not just the wins, it's the times when you're really needing that shoulder to cry on, or that person to express frustration to, or something.
It's a perfectionism thing. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect and can't keep my shit together all the time.
Yeah.
No,
And
no.
I very much resonate with what you just said, Juji, because I recognize that so often if I do have something to share that's hard, or I'm going through something with some of my friends, but you have to kind of be selective of, and I am, of who I share certain things with, but I also have tended to always apologize after. If something is wrong and you just need to get it off your chest, it's like, I'm so sorry, because exactly like what you said, like, it's almost like I'm placing a burden on them. Very different than certain situations that I've experienced where they're, and I think we may all know a person like this who's always negative and always down and all like, woe is me and life sucks all the time.
Her name is Debbie. Debbie Downer.
Debbie
Oh,
Downer.
yeah. Yeah, I know Debbie Downer, a Debbie Downer, but yeah, so I very much resonate with that. But and now in actually stopping, like you said, Kim, and thinking about it and embracing the fact that you do have these close friends or people that you can vent to without needing to apologize, and it's also with the hopes that when you don't apologize, that you walk away with, you're still secure within yourself that you didn't apologize. If you walk away with the same shitty feeling, if you still feel bad that you did that, but you just happen not to apologize, it kind of cancels out the whole thing.
Isn't it so crazy that whenever
you can say thank you for listening.
Right. Thank you for listening.
Oh yeah. So, but what I'm saying is like, regardless of what you say, right? So if I were to replace, I'm sorry with like, thank you so much for listening. And which I know that, and you guys, like when I talk to you guys and when you do listen, it's like, I know that. And I know you're there to just listen and support and help if you can, but sometimes it's just a venting session. And yeah, but it's the important part about it for me in evolving with this is walking away and not feeling the guilt of having just spilt.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine like someone's with, a friend and you're venting and you're, maybe you're crying and you're upset and whatever. And then, the other if you ever say, I'm sorry, the other person's always like, what are you sorry? Of course not. I'm here for you. Like, so why would you even say it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like you're going, I'm so sorry I vented. I'm like, yeah, you really shouldn't have done that. You're such a bitch. But the point I wanted to make, which I find so fascinating, and which is why I feel children are our teachers always and forever, is that when kids are upset, they vent, they cry, they're not apologizing for it. They're just being a human being and they're just upset. And when they feel that support or, the mother's hug or the father's hug or whoever, they feel better. It's just that, the shelf life gets shorter of having to be upset or traumatized or whatever it is.
Right.
And I just love that children just do what comes naturally to them and there's no apology needed.
That is so true, Shira, but this is so powerful because just now you made me think of something like until they're told not to. If a child is crying or whatever, stop it, be strong.
Yes, you're
It's
so
okay.
right about that.
So this can kind of screw with your head as you're getting older now. And that's where maybe the apologies even start.
Yep.
That
That's
was
a really good point.
That's what I was totally just going to interject with was I encourage everybody to look at where the behavior comes from, where the habit is formed, because it is so much deeper. I believe everything starts in childhood, and everybody on the planet has such a different experience in childhood. So for me, my apologetic habit came out of wanting to be liked and loved by the outside world and doing whatever I could to like try to manipulate that to happen. Where Lee, I know for you, apologizing for being vulnerable is very, right? Like that was.
Absolutely. That's
so,
exactly, yeah.
So, and all of us have a different experience in childhood, which, led us to that, to, the reason why we apologize too much but what's important is we're aware of it and we could take the pause and continually work at that and encourage other people to do it too. It's interesting now that I'm working on it, how much I see it in other people. And sometimes there's one particular person I'm thinking of in my life who it's so much, it's almost like this person could like bump into an inanimate object and apologize to an object. Like it's a little much. But I understand because I have my own apology issues. So I totally get it. And to each his own journey with this, but it's good. It's like when it's mirrored it's good for you to see. Okay, it's just a reminder. Okay, that's
Very much.
Let me continue work on that.
I would say that the thing that Lee just brought up, which is really amazing in terms of like how you were raised or like what conditioning elements you were raised with, leads to these kinds of behaviors, because like you said, Shira, it is natural for a child to, you know, release whatever it is that they're experiencing. And then somewhere along the way, we learn that that's like weakness or not good or something like that. But it doesn't mean that we were ever told that. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody directly told us, do not share your feelings because that is bad. It can be something that stems from this idea that there's already too much going on in the household. Like your parents are already dealing with so much. You don't want to be that burden on them or that extra layer of stress for them. So like, you know, I'm going through some things, but stuff it down because there's not enough room.
Right.
There's not enough room for every problem that's happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is so much more often the case because it's a subliminal messaging that happens. And it's something that our mind decides, not because we were directly told something, but those things can be even more deeply seated because there isn't that one time to trace it back to. There isn't that one person pointing at you saying, this is wrong, to be able to go like, oh, they told me that was wrong. And, you know, I can see why that led to this. It's more like, oh, there was just this like swirl of situations and like I had to be more mature than maybe I was ready to be. And so what maturity meant to me is somebody who could hold their shit together and prematurely entered into this phase of my life where I no longer felt the permission to let go in that way.
Mhm.
And that deep-seated stuff, that like really subconscious stuff, that's I think what we're all, you know, talking about in terms of awareness, in terms of unlearning, in terms of healing, in terms
Yeah.
of working on ourselves. Like those are the things that take the most time and attention, you know?
Totally.
And it's definitely this onion of like layers, you know, as you peel back, you peel back, you peel back. Apologizing is just a layer of the onion.
It's totally true. Yep. 100%.
So many layers.
Well, ladies, I think this is a wonderful place to wrap. And I am sorry, not sorry that we are going to wrap this up. So, if you've enjoyed our conversation, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to let us know if you have any topic requests or questions by commenting below. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Love you.
Bye.